Well, hi there. Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Sandra Hagslanum. I just wanted to do this movie review because I haven't done a movie review for a while, so here we go. It's just gonna be on the movie ParaNorman. Now, I haven't seen this movie when it was released before, but when I heard that they were gonna be making a new stop motion movie, I was very surprised at first because I love stop motion animation. Don't get me wrong. I love Coraline for the same reason as I love, stop motion animation, and it's completely really awesome. It's pretty good considering that all things are really well done in this movie, and I thought that I should go see it. So I did see this movie, and I really enjoyed it. So far I'm impressed with this movie. But once I saw the movie trailer, I was like, this movie is gonna be any good, is it? And I thought like I could watch a preview of it, or not really a preview of it, a full movie of it, and I'm glad I liked it because this movie actually really is cool. But beyond all things considered, I really got into the mood to watch this Halloween movie. And ParaNorman is a really great scary movie that's really creepy. Of course, it's a cartoon. You may not recognize like if you love Coraline, the same directors that brought you Coraline, also bring you ParaNorman with this really strange, weird kid who likes to talk to ghosts. And for the main reason, I loved and enjoyed Coraline for two reasons. Because Coraline is one of my favorite movies ever out there, and two, because it has a recognition of a character who faces major peril and peril after her parents disappear and they turn into with the sewn button eyes, the parents. So you might recognize that kind of little story between them, but I like the one with the blue-haired or the purple-haired girl with the blue or purple-haired girl better. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think this movie also is pretty good, and I think it topped off most Halloween movies. But I should say Frankenweenie also is a pretty good movie. I really enjoyed it. The story about it was really fantastic and really well designed. I think all all things considered, this Halloween movie is pretty good. It's pretty good on a regular basis, and this Halloween movie is pretty good considering it's a really cool Halloween movie. And the main story about this movie is that there's a kid named ParaNorman. So from the so also the studios who brought you Coraline, from the latest Coraline movie comes the brand new stop motion animated Halloween movie called ParaNorman, which is made both by Focus Features Movie Studios company, and also from the company that brought you Coraline is Lakia Studios, which is also a movie company. But sir. But anyways, the story is basically not like really the same. It's a little kind of completely different story. It's about this boy. His name is Norman, and Norman is a very strange, weird kid on a regular basis because he likes to talk to ghosts when he goes to school and when he doesn't go to school. But he gets also bullied a lot. He gets his school bully his school bully likes to bully him a lot and call him names and tease him. That's not really nice, but I think that because he's really weird talking to ghosts, and they kind of think that Norman is not normal. He's really strange and weird. And some people beyond things all consider him very crazy because he's always talking to ghosts whenever he or sure, like he's always crazy when he talks to ghosts whenever he sees them. And I thought the main point of the movie, I thought, I thought, I thought, I thought, and my, I thought the main point of the movie is pretty good. I think this movie is pretty cool, but Norman gets picked on by a school bully who is played by Christopher Mintz Pleese, or Please as you like to call him. He's been in other movies, but also this other kid who plays in the road. His name is actually Kodi-Smith-Mcphee. I think he did a great job playing as Norman. He had a lot of character in The Road, and that was a really better movie he played in because he played in that movie, and he was really awesome in this movie. He's pretty good at his role as Norman, and I think that a lot of kids might like recognize that Norman is not really an average kid. He's not your average kid at school. He's also not an average kid if he likes to go around and talk to like ghosts every day because every day and every time he goes, like, he sees his grandma on the couch, his parents don't believe him as well. They think he's a little, they think he's a little crazy because he likes to talk to ghosts. And, his father says, why couldn't you just be normal like other kids? And, Norman tries to be very hard. But, unfortunately, this movie is kind of... From the movie trailers, I wasn't actually very disappointed. I love the movie for a couple of reasons because this movie has the main story just like Coraline does. I'll describe it for you guys. This movie was pretty intense, and it was a really electrifying movie because I really like, that there's like a little bit of an there's like a little bit of an electrifying movie going on, but anyways, his town, his town, I'll tell you the main plot and story if you'd like. Town, goes under siege by zombies, and, Norman has to kind of, snap into action and try to stop this witch's curse, because this witch, when she awakes, because usually what the townspeople or townsfolk did is they, burned her alive on a stake, they put her on a stake, and then they burned her alive with torches and stuff, because they thought she was, like, cursing everybody. And so, if he doesn't do it, the witch, which was, kind of put on a stake, she will rise from the dead, and she will kind of make all the graveyards, zombies appear and start to pop up from the graveyards. And Norman just needs to help, he needs to help out, because this is like a 300-year back ago, like a centuries curse, so, it's a very old myth or curse that he finds on a graveyard, and I think this explains the story a little bit, particularly the same way as Coraline did. But you might not remember, but there is just, Norman, apparently, if you can tell, he's not a normal kid because he likes to talk to ghosts. And he also has to find this book, which is kind of talks about the witch and stuff. And he has to read it to the witch, which will eventually make her, go back to where she came from, because she's an evil spirit that wants to kind of destroy his town, his little town. And, I found this movie pretty funny, especially since it's a horror movie. I think that this Halloween movie is what any child could relate to. I mean, the humor's kind of funny and all, but, when he's, the Halloween theme is playing in the background, and, ParaNorman goes to the window, I think that could be, for adults to understand. I don't think any kids would understand that. But basically, I'm just saying the point is that there's a lot of jokes in this movie, but they're aimed at adults. Now, the only thing that made this movie have adult stuff is because ParaNorman is a very scary Halloween movie. Don't get me wrong. It's because ParaNorman, Norman watches every horror movie, and he he sits in front of the TV while his grandma sits in the back of the couch. And I think that, he also has a lot of zombie posters, He never takes them down or anything. He's just, walking. He sees a lot of zombie posters. And I'm betting that this movie has a lot of, pretty funny stuff, adult jokes. They're not really aimed at kids. Because kids won't understand. Little kids won't even understand the humor in this movie, because the humor is by far, really adult, and I bet a lot of people would not really, want to see that, but still, a lot of kids in the movie theater might recognize that from a few points of view. They might think that this movie is, it's aimed towards kids. Well, it is, because it's rated PG, and, it's just a really, it's a pretty good movie. The most point of this movie, is to kind of get you to learn that this movie is actually deals with bullying, and I think in the end of the movie, when it gets to the far end of the movie, it's even more tragic, because there's this bully, and there's kind of this little sad thing, like a relationship between the two of the there's like a relationship between the girl who was like burned or something. She was like either a witch or a soul or something. And then there's like a relationship towards ParaNorman, or like Norman, as you like to call him. That's the movie's name. But yeah, you guys. So I like the movie trailer, but there's just one scene I I like the movie trailer, but there's just one scene that I can't relate to. But yeah, you guys. So when the Halloween like music or theme, or like when the Halloween theme or music is playing in the background, um there kind of appears Jason or something, but his friend who is really fat is wearing like the Jason hockey mask, and that's what I cannot relate to, is that, some kids won't actually understand that scene because it's more intended for adults or something, or it's aimed for adults, the jokes in the movie. But yeah, you guys, overall, I think Paranorman is really cool, but I just want to describe this movie because I want to talk a little bit more, or, or I want to talk, a little bit more, a little bit longer about this movie. Sorry, but I want to, sorry, but I want to talk about this movie a little bit longer, Um, seeing as how this movie is, I actually really loved it because the fact is, I can describe this movie as an intense movie and an emotional movie, which kind of breaks my heart. It has a few heartbreaking scenes, but not a lot to the point where a scary movie, like rather than that, would have a lot of scenes like where there's some death scenes, some places where you see characters die and stuff. It's not as emotional, but it's a little emotional. It gets a little tragic towards the end because this girl explains to Norman how her mother died and how she left her and stuff. And I think it's just excuse me. Excuse me, guys, for the cough, and I'm very sorry about that. I just promise not to. Excuse me, guys, for the cough, and I'm very sorry about that. I just promise not to do that anymore in my movie reviews or something like that. But anyways, um, so it's really emotional because this girl tells Norman that her mother died, and she just died because one of the men took her away from her, and they probably just must have done something really bad to her, which I feel is a very, very sad thing to do you know, because she had a really perfect mother, and she always took very good care of her, no matter or no matter where she went or where she go to. Her mother would always be there for her. But it's just really sad. It broke my heart, because they were talking about this, and it's kind of just like something that is something we can all relate to, like mothers like doing kind of, or like mothers like dying or something, or like diners, or like we can, like it's all something that we can actually relate to, like the mother is dying and the daughter is just left behind. So to watch her mother die, it's a very sad, story because, mothers can't usually die because, it's just, it broke my heart. It's really emotional. That's why I love this movie. It's so sad it made me want to cry, like, in the end, because Norman just, like, came up to her and he told her that it was going to be alright and she was going to have to go back to sleep, and she turned to a spirit and she just disappeared from that place. So I think this movie was a really good movie. It's positive. It has really positive role models, but I'll get into that a little later after this. But I think the main part about this movie is that I actually did love stop motion, and don't get me wrong, I used to hate this movie. I used to hate on it, like say it's a bad movie, but I don't hate on it anymore because I think this movie is actually a pretty good or sir, it's not really like I used to hate on it. Or sir, I used to hate on it, but I don't hate on it anymore. You know. But anyways, I thought this movie was a pretty good movie. So just just go into a few little details over here. So if you don't want to nitpick at this movie review, then please don't watch the spoilers, you guys. There's gonna be actually no spoilers in this movie review whatsoever. So yeah, just because just because I saw this movie, uh, just because I saw this movie does not mean it doesn't mean that I actually want to see it again. Because this movie is, it doesn't, it doesn't actually want to make me see it again. Because this movie is actually pretty cool, you know. I love the story and everything, but yeah, this movie is actually really cool. And both at the same time, I loved the funny scenes. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of funny scenes in this movie here and there on. But I think this movie is just, it's a better movie, and I never expected anything, including the humor, out of some scenes where, they kind of have you know, ParaNorman and Norman is just doing stuff, and I never expected that. But anyways, it's just pretty cool, and I think that we can all relate to ParaNorman and his jokes and everything, and when they say the word Norman, they mean it, and it's really funny because I love Norman, and he's a funny character, don't get me wrong. But anyways, onto the acting, or yeah, onto the acting, the actors, and the main actresses, But anyways, I just want to tell you guys, I love the performances of all the actors. The every single actor in this movie is actually very good at his role. And I'm gonna tell you guys that all the actors in this movie tried so hard to be really good actors, and they were just an excellent role model for this movie. I think because this movie this movie had a lot of really good actors, and plus on the other hand, I think Coraline also had really good actors. I'm not exactly sure, but this movie even had way better actors. And I really love Kodi-Smith-Mcphee. I think he did a really good job in this movie as Norman Babcock. And I think that we can all relate to Norman Babcock because of his really weird humor, but still some parts of this movie were funny, some weren't, but I really some parts of this movie were really funny, but some weren't, and I really laughed when they were screaming and everything when they saw the zombies, like they were driving on the road. So yeah, but I think Cody Smith-McPhee also did a really good job in The Road. Don't get me wrong, he's a really great child actor. And besides being a child, he just has an excellent voice, and he has an excellent attitude for a better role model in this movie. I think that, he's a nominated Oscar actor, and I think he did a really good job nailing the role as Norman Babcock in this movie. And the way he sounds and everything, the way he talks, I think I love this movie just for a couple of reasons. Another actor which I really like, definitely on the other hand, is Tucker Albazi, or Tucker Albazi. And because I liked Tucker Albazi didn't mean that I didn't hate him or anything. I really love, the fat kid. And the fat kid is his friend. I like the part when he's kissing the dogs, the invincible dogs, but I thought it was really funny. But yeah, sorry guys, I'm just sorry guys, I've just been coughing so long in this review, but I'm really sorry guys if I did cough. I'm very sorry about that. But just want to make this but just want to make this movie review. So still, I'm not gonna cost it at all, sir. But anyways, I mean, yes, sir. And I'm sorry, But anyways, I think Tucker Albazi in the I, th- I, th- I think Tucker Albazi in this movie is really good, especially because he's the fat kid with the orange hair. You wouldn't call him a ginger, would you? But you wouldn't call him a ginger, would you? Just because of the orange hair? But I'd prefer not because he'd actually, or because I'd prefer, or because I'd prefer not because he would get angry. But anyways, he's a pretty cool actor. I think Tucker Albazi in this movie is actually really good, especially really good, especially in that funny part of the movie, like I saw in the movie trailer, like when he was kissing the invincible ghost dog's butt or something like that. But yeah, you guys, I just love this movie. And I think that we can all relate to him, and his humor is so funny. Like when he blinks and stuff, he's like, when he says also the word "so do I," he's just so happy and he's just so funny and irresistible to look at. I think that Tucker Albasi or Tucker Albasi or Tucker Albasi makes a really great actor. He's actually not really bad. He kind of looks like Rowley from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like Tucker Albasi or Tucker Albasi, but I think he's a really, really nice. Don't get me wrong. But don't, but don't get me wrong. I really like Tucker Albasi or Tucker Albasi because he's a really fat kid. But still, he's Norman Babcock's friend. Who's like his friend who protects him from bad things that are gonna happen to him and stuff like that. And I just love the main directors also of this movie, or I love also the other actors. Christopher Mintz Pleese, who plays as the main school bully. I think he's just a really good actor. He's a pretty good actor because he plays in Superbad, and he's really funny for a number of reasons because he plays as a school bully, and the school bully kind of looks like a really weird kid with a really weird head, and he always bullies Norman a lot in school. So he's like always pushing him around. He's always shoving him. I really like it, but still he doesn't also sound like a bully. That's because due to what he sounds like in the movie. But what he sounds like in the movie does not actually mean he sounds like any of the bullies or something that are bullying or teasing you or even calling you names, or shoving or pushing you. But anyways, he makes a pretty good actor. I love Christopher Mintz Pleese, and I think he's just actually a very good actor in more movies. Like in some more of his movies, he's pretty funny, because in adult movies he's also the same way. But yeah. Sorry, guess, but I Sorry, guess, but as I was saying, sorry, guess, but as I was saying before, and I'll say again, I really do like the bully, and there are a lot of reasons because, first of all, he's pretty puny for his size, and I think that, well, actually, he's not really puny. He's like a big guy. And the second, he doesn't sound like a bully. He doesn't sound much more of a bully. Because he always sounds like, he's just pushing Norman, pushing him around. And I kind of liked him for that reason, but I didn't like how he sounded at all. He could have sounded a little better or something, but still, I really like it, like when that happens, But anyways, and also like the other actors, they also have the directors. I like Chris Butler. I think Chris Butler is actually a pretty good director who made this movie. I think he's like, he's just a top actor, or he's not a top actor, he's a top director who actually did very good job. And if you love, ParaNorman, you're gonna definitely love this movie. I dig Chris Butler's like stuff. I think he's a really amazing director. And if he continues to keep this up, I think he's gonna get like more like Halloween movies such as this one, like the stop motion ones. And I think this movie actually was a pretty good stop motion movie just because of the way it was made and how it sounds, So yeah, you guys, I'm just really interested. I was really interested to see this movie because I was really interested to see this movie because of its humor. So it's like light humor. So yeah, you guys, still really nothing too hardcore. I think this movie is actually really cool. But the fact is, some kids cannot even watch this movie because it's adult. It has adult jokes. Some of the humor could, be for adults and stuff, but yeah. So Norman usually has to take on grown-ups, zombies and ghosts in order to save his town, like his hometown, from a witch's or from an old mythical curse. So I think that in some parts of this movie I could relate to what he was saying, and I think this movie has actually made sense because it's a stop motion. I love CGI, and I'm not gonna lie that when I say I love CGI, I mean it. So, CGI or not, I still think this movie's pretty funny. And CGI, like how they did the 3D animation of this stuff, it's actually really, really fun because this movie's actually pretty funny, and it's gonna get you in the mood to watch it because, ParaNorman is just, not really normal when he talks to ghosts and stuff like that. But like he's not really normal when he talks to ghosts and stuff like that, but still, I really love ParaNorman, and for a reason. This movie just did a great job there. I'll describe this in the movie. It was a pretty good movie. It was pretty satisfying. I really enjoyed it. The performances by the main actresses and actor, or by the main actresses and actors who played in this movie, are actually pretty good, and I think I can actually relate to that. And you know, so also, I don't know who really plays the crazy old uncle or something like that's Norman's uncle or something, or his grandfather. But still, I think that this movie was actually pretty cool because his grandfather, like the crazy old uncle who's always crazy and stuff. I think is actually pretty cool because to see this movie, I thought it was actually really weird at first. I thought this movie was going to be something else entirely, like about someone else. But when I saw the movie trailers, I was not hypnotized. I wanted to see this movie, and I surely did. So, yeah, you guys. Also, I love the main soundtrack score. I think it Also, I love the main soundtrack score. I think it's really good considering that the soundtrack was that the soundtrack was actually really cool. I think I can describe this movie as a very good movie, and it's way better than anything else like the Halloween movies. And I think this movie actually was a pretty good movie because it actually did everything like right in order. So yeah, you guys. I really love the main composer. He composes the music very well, and some things like really dramatic and suspenseful and scary. And I think that he did a good job at the music. And I just love the main score and the main vibe to this movie because the main vibe, the main vibe to this movie is actually that just because you're being normal does not mean you can actually be a hero or something. But Norman is, and I love Norman for that reason. Kids can identify with Norman. I mean, anyone can identify with Norman, even kids, including them. And I mean, this movie actually made sense because it's directed towards kids, and I really wanted to go see this, or I really wanted to go see this movie, so I didn't. It's pretty cool, I should say. And I think that this movie actually made sense because, the fast pacing of, because of the fast pacing of the story and everything, the suspenseful elements this movie had, and the mild peril it had, I think this movie could actually be a really scary movie. Indeed, because, it's a better Halloween movie. It's actually pretty scary with ghosts and zombies and, witches, if you love any. And if you really think that this movie is actually pretty good, you've got to see this movie, first of all. I'm not going to judge you. It's a pretty good movie, but you've got to see this movie because I'm not going to judge you if you didn't see this movie before. But yeah, you guys, I think this movie is actually very good. I think that like Coraline, I think this movie we can like with this movie we can identify with it, and it's just a very good movie. So I believe that the main story that happened between both characters and their relationships they had in the end, I was really surprised because this movie is actually really cool, and yay, sir. And also, Norman's sister is also dating this guy, and he's like this guy who, kind of makes a very good he makes a very good boyfriend, but don't get me wrong, he makes a very good boyfriend, but don't get me wrong, I think that the main story about this movie is actually really excellent, and the lighting that they used, the lighting that they used in some scenes for this movie to make it was actually also pretty cool. I should say that no matter how bad the lighting is, how good the lighting is, I think that the lighting will always be the best no matter what happens in the movie. And I think they did a really good job because they had to light some scenes use some real lights or stuff to actually know to show the main characters and what they're doing. So I think that we all know that it's actually really cool, and I think that it's just really good. Kodi-Smith-Mcphee is my favorite actor. He's a very good child actor, and I think he actually really has outdone himself, for the last time in this movie. And I think instead of a main protagonist, instead of Coraline, we get a main protagonist who is Norman. No, a main protagonist, like the main character in this movie, who's Norman. And in this movie, I think this movie is actually really cool, And, it's just really funny because there's also a city hall scene where they're chatting with each other and it's very long. I kind of wish that they cut that part out because that part made no sense whatsoever, but still, I thought that this movie, for the main point of the story, was actually done I think the movie like this for the actual main story was outdone was outdone itself very good, and was outdone itself very good, and I think we can all relate to that. And I just think that I can describe this movie. It has some violence. Now, if you don't like violence, don't take your kids to it. But I can describe it as this: intense, scary, violent, not pretty gory by any standards at all. No blood or gore like you see in other, creepy Halloween movies, really creepy, really violent Halloween movies. But it did have a few scenes that could scare the pants off anybody. Now, a few scenes it scared the pants off me because my hair stood straight on its end. And believe me when I say that because I am not joking around either. I could have peed my pants or I could have pooped my pants. That's the same thing that always happens with someone once they see this movie. And I mean, ParaNorman, it's your kids will not even understand some parts, and some parts could be aimed at adults, definitely, but still, kids might understand a little bit from this movie. And considering how fun it's like a kids' movie, I think this movie we can all relate to because of some humor and, because of some humor involved in this movie, and I think this movie actually made sense because it's actually a really good movie. So yeah, you guys, I definitely loved it. I really loved a lot of the scenes. Some scenes were kind of very some scenes were kind of very cheesy due to the fact about that. But yeah, you guys, Now I'm gonna go into the real. I'm gonna go into the real pros and cons like I do in every movie review. Now, the pros: excellent soundtrack, awesome cast of characters who played in this movie, awesome cast and acting in this movie. The cast was really suburban, and the cast was really suburban, fantastic, but anyways, also, really funny scenes, definitely. But the main cons in this movie were adult jokes, which kids might not get or won't understand at all because there are very little kids to understand something like that, or they don't definitely need to deal with adult humor. Uh, that this movie contains or has bullying. Like, we know bullying is the main problem in schools because if you bully someone, and because I learned something about this movie and it's about bullying. And the positive message is if you're bullied, just tell an adult or a teacher. They'll be able to help you with almost anything you have, like including a problem with bullying. And if you want, you can just walk away from the bully and, just pretend like nothing happened at all. And also, they also have I have another con with this movie, which is really bad. Um, the main bully and how he looks. Now, I didn't like and like the main bully, and how he looks and sounds. Now, I didn't like the main bully for the fact that he looks like a skinny-haired kid who is not fat or anything, but he looks really tall compared to like a fat kid. And all I'm saying is just I didn't like his voice that much because the fact is this movie kind of had because the fact is this movie kind of had some of that, but still I think they could have improved on the voice a little better, and I mean like when I say that I mean it like that. And I think Norman is a positive role model in this movie. And don't get me wrong, he's actually pretty cool, but still, it's really cool. And I mean, like the kids who go on adventures. This movie has a lot of references, and I've got to tell you this, guys. I never ever tell you the references in almost every movie review I make. I know it's kind of pointless, and you might not want to hear about it, but still, here's my references that appeared in this movie. Here's like some references. There are some references. Okay, so there's a reference about Halloween. There's the music that plays like da na 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 na. That's kind of like the Michael Myers theme you hear on the cell phone. That it says like when he says "come to the window," you can hear that playing in the background. And then there's another reference to Friday the 13th with like a Jason Voorhees hockey mask that Neil, the fat kid, is wearing, and he's like looking at Norman through the window because Norman's a little bit scared, and he's like, "Want to go play some hockey?" And Norman's like, I can't do that because I'm being a little busy just doing my own paranormal activity work or something like that. And there's another reference in this movie that I know everybody's gonna love. It's Scooby Doo, the movie. It's kind of like Scooby Doo. I know Scooby Doo lovers love the movies like about Scooby Doo, and he's like, like Shaggy's like saying, "Want a Scooby snack?" And like he's like, "Roar, I want a Scooby snack." So I think it's gonna be really funny, you guys, because But hey, Paranorman has a lot of movie references, and I think it's kind of referencing the movie Scooby Doo, like it's kind of referencing the movie Scooby Doo if you watch it, because like when that woman says something about it, like she says, it's like, and those, and it would have been a better night if it wasn't for those kids. I think and it would have been a better night if it wasn't for those kids. And I think she's kind of referencing Scooby Doo because, because she just said that line or something like that. She probably said that to some kids, like, some kids who are being naughty or something like that while they're driving with their parents or something. And I like Norman's dad and Norman's mother, or Norman's mom and dad, because I think they're really funny. And we can all relate that Norman is not really a positive. He's not really a positive role model, but he's not really a positive role model. But at least he counts because in this movie, I think that the town it's kind of based on Salem in Massachusetts, like on these witch curses which kind of happen and these witch mythical things which kind of happen in the movie. And this movie's actually People said that it's based on the real true stories, you guys. The real true stories about witches and witchcraft. And witchcraft is a very scary thing. Like, if you summon a witch and you say her name when you're trying to do this witchcraft thing, she's gonna appear. She's gonna come in and she's gonna just take you away with her, because she's scary looking. And witchcraft is a very serious thing. If you're, if there's like a witch or something, she's flying on her broomstick, do not ever practice witchcraft because it's actually very scary and dangerous thing to do because she will grab you and she will do something to you really badly. And it's really bad, because it's kind of like that, because it's kind of like that, because you can't ever practice witchcraft or otherwise she will try to get you. Sorry. But anyways, I really liked this movie. I thought it was really funny. I thought ParaNorman was actually really cool, and that Norman was a really positive role model. I can agree with some people. I can actually really agree. And I think this movie actually is kind of like The Walking Dead for kids, but it's not really because it's all about zombies and witches and witchcraft and stuff. But still, you guys, so if you guys, if you want to see this movie, I recommend you definitely go see it. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a really awesome CGI animated movie. And the cinematography was actually pretty cool in this movie. I like how everything moves back and forth from side to side, like really fastly, and everything. I mean, I love this movie. I definitely love it, and I'll guarantee almost anybody is gonna enjoy this movie. You're gonna laugh your heads off in the movie theaters, and you're gonna certainly not gonna laugh when the scary parts or funny parts come up. Some parts are funny, some aren't, but still, I think this movie made a lot of sense to me now that I watched it, and I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it, and because, yeah, you guys, don't forget to tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'll be making my, Premium Rush, movie review next, and, yeah, you guys, don't forget to tell me, have you seen this movie before? Have you seen it, like, have you seen it? Have you seen it when it was still in the movie theaters? Comment down below, let me know. And as always, I will see you all guys next time. And I'll see you and I, and I will see all of you guys next time. Take care. Woo!